Welcome to another tech video. So today we are going to be having a look at this Dell Inspiron. It is a 14-inch. It's the Dell Inspiron 14-7000. So this one is not working. The issue, as far as we can tell, is it's got a faulty power DC jack and it's also got a faulty battery. So we're going to be changing these out today, see if we can get this thing going again. Okay, so the tools we're going to need are a simple Phillips screwdriver, small enough to get the screws out, and a prizer tool. You might be better off using like a plastic prizer tool, but we might not even need this because these are quite easy to get to. So what you want to do is remove all the screws that you see here. So you've got 3 along the back, 3 across the center, and 4 across the front. And then to get into the device, you want to lift up the back, and you can see along the back here, this is the sort of area that should come up. There we go. And so once the back comes up, that will give you enough room just to get in the corner, just to spread this a little bit to get the corner going. So that's that corner up, and then we've got another corner on this side, so we're just going to prise open the back a little bit to see if we can get in there. This left corner is a little bit stiffer. There we go. And then just free it up gently and carefully all around the unit, and then the lid will come off. So we can put that at the back there. Right, so immediately we can see we've got a pretty dirty fan. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get a soft brush like this one. It's nice soft bristles, and we're just going to put a finger on the fan just to stop it from moving, and we're going to gently brush this out. Like that. And then you just want to pick it up and just blow it out so everything comes out the back here. Like that. So we've got a nice clean fan. You can use an air duster. I tend to just loosen up the dust and then blow it out through and make sure that the exhaust area, so the heat sink here, is also clean. Give that a little clean like that. Right, so looking at the unit itself, so we've got our 38 watt hour battery along the front here, and we've got, luckily this is not a molded DC jack, i.e. part of the motherboard. This is a jack that can be changed. So we've got a replacement. We're just waiting for the battery to arrive. What we want to do before we start anything is we want to disconnect the battery. Okay, so to disconnect the battery, we've got a little cable in here with a flap on it. So you just want to grip hold of the flap and just gently pull that back to release the catch, and that comes out. And then around the battery we've got 4 Phillips screws, so we're going to remove these to take the battery out. So at the moment we're just going to see if we can remove the battery without too much trouble. And the other screw is over here like that. Okay, along the front, just along here, you've got the speaker joining cable, which is actually supposed to slot in these clips, around these clips for the battery, but in this example it seems to have already been removed. So I'm just wondering if this has already had a battery change, but we're going to remove this, taking care that we don't lose the screws or drop them in. Let's just tip that battery over like that. Get the screws secured out of the way. So that's the battery. Let's have a look at it. So each of these cells is supposed to be flush. I can feel a little bit of swelling on here, so yeah, it's probably right that it has a replacement battery. And then on the battery itself, we've got the cable that connects it to the main board. So this will need to be removed because the replacement battery won't come with this cable. So we're just going to peel up the edge here, and we're going to disconnect that cable from the battery, and we're going to put that to the side for when the new battery arrives. The next thing that we want to do is to have a look at the DC jack, which is here. So we knew that the DC jack was faulty because when we take the power cable and insert it, there's absolute resistance in there. So it's like the small parts that grip around the outside have been squashed and compressed. We can't get this in, which is why it's not charging. And when it was charging, our client reported that the battery was coming up with warnings as well, hence why we're changing the battery. So to get this out, there's one screw at the top here. So we're going to remove that screw. And we're going to get that out safe. And then we can now just lift up this connector, and the connector goes into this socket here. So you want to just, when you're removing it, just make sure that you don't damage the socket, but this will just pull out if you give it a slight wiggle from side to side. And there we go, that's that connector removed. Right, so having a look at the connector itself, you're not going to be able to see this, but actually inside you can see it's all pretty damaged and crushed. So that seems to be the main fault of getting no power into the unit. This is our replacement. So this was £3.30 from Amazon. So we're going to take that, we're going to seat that into there first of all before we connect it, because we need to make sure that the cable will route correctly. We're going to pop our screw back in. We're going to fix that into place. Right, so once the socket or the DC jack is in place, we can now take our cable, and we just have to be a little bit careful with the cable itself. It is quite fragile, but we want to route the cable so that it is out of the way as much as possible, and we're just going to slide that in so it's in place. Next, what we want to do is we just want to try and route our cable so as much of it is off the main board and in this slot down here as much as possible. Like that. The cover should go on there without too much trouble. So that is it in terms of replacing the DC jack. That's fairly easy to do. And then once the replacement battery turns up, we'll get that fitted. We'll reroute this cable around the battery to make sure that that is done properly, and then get it back together. Okay, so with the new battery, all we're going to do is we're going to insert, I think it goes in this way. There we go. Insert the cable that we removed from the old one. We're going to seal that over, and then that is going to just rest in there nicely like that. So this is the part that we need to now get our speaker cable routed. So we're going to go over the top there, under that one, over that one, under that one, and then we need to go over this one, like that. And then we're going to take our 4 screws, so I'm going to put one in there. Now this battery already on the old one, compared to the old one, the 3 cells were completely swollen, so we know that this battery is actually good because there's no swelling on them. And although it might not be a Dell branded battery, it should just be fine. Okay, and then we can reattach the battery with our cable clip in here. So we're just going to slide that in. I'm going to make sure that that is in properly. There we go. Then we're going to take our cover and we're just going to rest that on there for now, like that. Okay, we're going to take some power. Let's get this plugged in. Okay. And we're looking at the light down here, so we expect this to go white if the battery's good and if the power adapter's good. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, so we're good. Let's now see if it turns on or if the damage has been too much. And there we have it. So that is a success. So it was the power port and the battery that needed replacing on that one. So now we've tested the battery, it's just a matter of popping all the screws back in, and then we're going to leave it switched off and we're going to leave it plugged into power so the battery fully charges, and then we're going to test it to make sure that it can run off the battery on its own. But apart from that, that's all there is to it. In the meantime, just have a look at the light on here. That shows that we're happily charging away, which we weren't able to do before. If we look at our battery, we can see that each of these cells is pretty swollen, so that would explain why the battery pretty much had given up the ghost. And yeah, we will get this delivered back to our customer. So if you found that video useful, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just want to say thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.